Welcome back, wrestling fans, to Unleashed Wrestling. I'm
And
TJ.
I'm Yorkie. And wow, do we have some reactions from what happened last night, 24 hours removed from the events. What were your
Yorkie,
thoughts?
where do I start? I mean, here's the crazy thing. Last night, the WWE left us happy. They left us disappointed. They left us with a massive cliffhanger. They left us with excitement. They left us with chaos. There is so much about this pay per view or PLE that we got to talk about.
Man. Where do we start? Um,
I mean,
that was
I
just,
guess
whew, I'm
it
speechless.
was insane.
I'm
Like
speechless.
even the tag team match was a really good match.
It was.
It it went like we expected it to, with I think you had picked Motor City Machine Guns to win.
Yeah,
If y'all go back and watch our preview show, I think you picked Machine Guns. I
I
actually
did.
picked
I did.
DIY.
Yeah, that was like the only one we didn't agree on for the most part.
I think so too. But I mean, look, it was a good match. It kind of went the way I expected it to. Um, DIY gets a pinfall, and then Machine Guns gets a pinfall like 5 minutes later, and then referee is distracted, and out come the Street Profits. They interfere in the match, and then DIY gets a pinfall. I thought, oh my gosh, we just saw our freaking Profits heel turn until
Yeah,
they attacked DIY on the ramp.
yeah.
What's your thoughts about this, man?
Man, I thought, like you said, it went exactly how we thought it was going to go. It was going to be a back and
Yeah.
forth, and then it was just going to come down to whoever the last pin was. But I was not expecting the Street Profits to come out. I was expecting probably more of like a New Day or something to come out for that one. Just because of the heel heat that they have right now, I think that would have been the move, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes.
but they went the way they did, and I'm not really mad at it. But at the same time, the tag belts are really not a key point at this point in storyline looks of
No, they're
things.
not.
Um,
Fortunately.
do I wish they were? Yes, but I can see why they're not because there's so much more going on. Um, I feel bad that the tag teams are overlooked at this moment in time, but I
Me too.
think there's going to be some big things coming. So my reaction to what happened is just pretty much expected, and now we're probably going to see a storyline between the Street Profits and DIY.
I was a little confused about it because on SmackDown they were having like this little back and forth with Pretty Deadly, and they weren't even using the pay per view last night.
Right. Which, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Did they just like completely do a 180, or did something happen to where they just couldn't be there, or was that just a dead end of the storyline and they just wanted to go ahead and try something new?
Yeah, no,
I'm pretty
I
sure they
agree.
just tried to do something new because the Pretty Deadly thing wasn't resonating with anybody, and it wasn't getting the traction that they thought it would get. So, I mean, that's part of the business. It's going to happen. You're going to see that, and you're just going to learn to expect it.
So then we're not doing these in the order of the matches. We're just doing them. We're doing the Rumble matches last because there's more talking points on that. So we want to get the other two matches out of the way.
Man, did
Kevin
we?
Owens, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, man,
Go
did
ahead.
we
Go
have
ahead.
something big there with the Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens match? A lot of good spots,
Man.
a lot of big spots. Um,
Yes.
it didn't end the way that any of us expected it to, but that was all due because of how much work they put into the rest of that match, and they beat their bodies up. They did pretty much everything they could think of with a ladder. Brought back some old things. I think it was mentioned how Cody Rhodes was beaten by Wade Barrett with the bottom rung of a ladder, and they kind of used that point at some point during the match. Somebody ripped it off and started beating, and I can't remember who ripped it off, but I think it was Kevin Owens.
What's Kevin Owens?
And then kind of pulled that move on Cody, and then Cody did some things. There
Yes.
were bodies flying everywhere into ladders, and it was just, man, it was a pure chaos.
And they both took some pretty nasty ladder bumps.
Oh yeah,
Um, they I went back and watched some of it today, just because you're in the moment, you miss a lot of stuff. So I went back and watched it, and when Cody was hanging from the title, Kevin Owens grabbed him and pretty much did like a pump up power bomb on the canvas.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love those spots when they're hanging from the rope or from the where the titles are, and you're like, oh man, he's about to pull them down, and they don't, and then something big happens, and then that bump Kevin took, not the second one, but the first one when he was in the ring. There's one that Kevin did something to Cody. Cody landed and fell, but when Kevin fell, he kind of hit his head on the ladder.
That was when they were on top of the top rope, and then Cody, they pretty much did a pile driver off the top rope, and Cody's back went and hit the ladder, and he kind of stood up and just fell face first, and Kevin hit the back of his head as he was coming down.
Yeah,
that was nasty, and it looked like there was a spot where Sammy was supposed to come out, and then when that happened, it changed, and Sammy just went straight to make sure both of them were okay, because both of them took a pretty nasty bump there. The match kind of stopped for a minute to make sure everybody was okay. You could see the ref trying to shake Cody like he was knocked out legit.
like he looked like he was legit knocked out for a second.
And then, Kevin, he looked like he was in pretty bad shape there. Like, he was concussed. Possibly could be. I don't know. I haven't heard anything on Kevin. I know Cody's pretty banged up and pretty down pretty bad, even though he was the one that walked out. Then that second spot when they're on top of the announce table. Oh my gosh. They were going for a pop-up power bomb, didn't resonate, and Cody reversed it. And then when he put Kevin through the ladder, and Kevin folded like a lawn chair legitly, and then stayed in that position, didn't move. I didn't see no movement for quite a while. Like, I thought it was rough.
Yeah, I didn't either.
And then they kind of were telling Cody, hey, we got to take it home.
Man, I tell you, either Kevin legitimately got injured or he sold the hell out of that freaking Alabama Slam. The confusing part to me was when that happened, Cody got in the ring and started climbing the ladder, and you could see Sammy stop and look at Cody as he's climbing the ladder. I'm like, oh, here it comes. He's about to knock Cody off, and Kevin's going to come in and get the titles. That didn't happen. Maybe that was supposed to happen, but maybe because of the nature of the match, they called an audible at the last minute.
Oh,
look.
I'm sure that's exactly what that was. They called an audible. They had to have called an audible there. Because you could kind of see Sammy wave him to go ahead and go up and grab the belts to kind of take the focus off of what was going on with Kevin. And that was scary. Very scary.
It was very scary. I hope they're both okay. I did go through Twitter or X last night after the Rumble, and I was reading comments. Somebody, how wrestling fans are, man. We always talk and we always know everything. Said that Cody's going to end up giving the title up because he's actually injured. I think Cody, he's going to have some injuries, but I think he's going to be okay because he did kind of walk out of there on his own accord. If he is injured, it's a storyline injury. Kevin Owens, on the other hand, he might legit be injured. I don't know. I haven't heard anything on that. I'm hoping that he is perfectly fine and he's just a little banged up.
I hope he's just a little banged. Like, best case scenario, he's got a very minor concussion. But with what happened, he has to at least have that.
Well, and I would think that the concussion would have came from when he went off the top and he hit his head on the ladder.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, he kind of wrestled through a concussion, and then when he took that slam, that just kind of, because from the angle that they had, I kind of paid attention on the replay. From the angle that they had, when he went down, his head landed in between two rungs. And when it folded, it kind of landed on his head, like the top rung that his head went between, kind of landed on top of his head. And that's why when they finally rolled him over and stuff, his face was just covered in blood. I don't think that was a I don't think that was a spot bloody. That was a legit. He got pretty messed
Busted
up.
open.
Yeah, he got busted open.
Yeah. I love Cody. I'm glad he won. But the other part of me really wanted Kevin to win. It was so hard to tell who you wanted to win until we saw the outcome of the Rumble. And now it's just this whole thing is going to be freaking mass chaos.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly what Paul wanted.
Then we had the women's Royal Rumble match, which again was the second match of the card. A match that, for it to not be very highly promoted, turned out to be a pretty good match.
Oh yeah, it really did. There was a lot of names that we expected, and then there was a couple of them that we were like, "Wow, that's who that is. That's who they picked to come out instead of other people." Who was your favorite during the match?
Before I give you my favorite, I'm going to say this: you had somebody. We're going to talk about their returns in a minute, but you had a return that everybody wanted to see. You had a return that some people wanted to see, and then you had a return that nobody wanted to see. And I'll leave it at that. My favorite,
I wouldn't say nobody.
I would say less than 20%. But my favorite, man, there were so many good spots. The Jordan Gray spot was phenomenal.
Oh yes, it was.
With the Death Valley driver to Nia Jax, that was wow. And even Haley was like, God, this she's massive. I was like, yeah. And she said, and she picked up Nia by herself. I said, yeah, that's some massive strength.
By herself and not even wasn't even struggling, just straight lifted her up and just threw her like she was a piece of paper.
Yeah, she's going to do great things quickly. I hope that they don't put her on NXT, but
I don't think they're going to. That she's going straight to main roster.
So speaking of NXT, do you know who I was super excited to see in the Rumble last night?
Who was that?
Roxanne Perez.
Yes. Somebody who was hoping she would have came out a little later than she did.
Yeah, but I'm glad she did come out when she did because she ended up setting a record last night for the longest appearance in a Rumble match. Bailey did it last year, and Roxanne broke it by like 4 or 5 minutes, I think.
3 minutes. I think it was
pretty
hour. It ended up being an hour and 6, and Bailey held it, or was it Bailey or Liv that held it for an hour and 3?
It was last year. It came down to Liv and Bailey.
Yeah,
and Liv had it longer, but I think Bailey ended up getting it longer because she ended up winning. Something I don't know because Bailey was number 3 in the match last year, I think, and Liv was number 2.
Yeah. So I think it was Liv because she's the one that ended up winning it, wasn't she?
No, Bailey won it last year.
That's right.
I mean, some of these NXT women it was cool to see them, but I'm not gonna lie, there's some of them I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
Like I know who Julie is, obviously, because of her being the champion. We all know who Roxanne Perez is because of what's going on with her and Bailey. But there are some I'm like, who is this? Mm-hmm. You had that look on your face, like, whose music is this? I don't know who this is.
Right.
And I was really wanting more of those. Holy crap, they're in here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Moments. And we got that, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I don't know, man. What did you think of the whole thing?
I thought it was good. There was one person that I wish wasn't an entrant in this Rumble, and she's an older superstar who's been around the company for quite some time. Her time's pretty much up. I don't know why they're still putting her in spots. You could have put somebody way better in that position. She's very still, in my opinion, and that would be Trish Stratus. I hate to say it. I love Trish Stratus, but it's time for her to hang him up.
Yeah, I predicted that Trish would be in this thing, though. They do it a lot. I don't know. I think it was cool to see her. It's always,
but it's not like she hasn't been around because she had that storyline with
Zoe Stark.
Zoe Stark. So I mean, like she's been relevant for a while. She pretty much said she was done. Why put her into the Rumble?
Having legends up here it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's I think it's one of those things where it needs to be something that's needed.
Like
And honestly,
I know she was there, but I would have much rather heard Mickey James' music hit for that.
well, Mickey
Instead.
James is in the stands.
That's what I'm saying. I know she was there, but I'm just saying, like, I would have much rather heard her instead of Trish Stratus.
Well,
Not,
maybe
not
Mickey
that I would
James.
want Mickey James. I'm just saying I would have preferred that instead because you haven't
Yeah.
seen or heard from her in a while in the WWE.
What was your favorite moment? Not return, but what was your favorite moment in that Rumble? In the women's
In
match?
the women's match, my favorite moment, if I had to say, it'd probably be Alexa Bliss's return.
So yeah, that was by far the highlight of the show.
Like I had chills
And dude,
when she turned
I went
around
through-
and I saw her back, dude. The chills.
I teared up. I'm not. Gonna lie.
Yeah,
I
me
teared
too.
up. And I didn't tear up because she's back, which obviously everybody was glad to see her. I don't think there's a person in that arena that was not cheering. I mean,
Yeah.
the pop she got was insane.
Oh, that was a huge pop.
But I teared up because of the whole Bray Wyatt thing.
Yeah.
The Fiend Forever on the back of her jacket was like, it got me. And I was like, oh, this is real. Like, you always want to wake up and think that it's a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to thinking, she came out with the Lily doll. She had that stuff on, so maybe she is going to be a part of Wyatt 6 after all.
So here's my thought on it. I think that she did that homage to Bray. And I also think she brought a little bit of that early Alexa Bliss look as well. So it wasn't just the one, it was actually both. So it could go either way.
I hate that she didn't stay in as long as she did. I wasn't expecting her to win the thing anyway.
No.
Because she just came back. But I said in our preview show, we were talking about Alexa Bliss, and everybody's out there. It's like, oh, she's not coming back. She's not coming back. And I told you, I said, you know what? They're going to end up swerving us like they tried to do with CM Punk, saying that he wasn't coming back. And that's exactly what they did. And even Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, I wonder if they didn't know she was actually coming. Because they seemed legitimately shocked.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was a surprise to everybody.
If it was a damn good one.
Yes, it was.
And it was,
I mean,
it
was like an authentic reaction.
It really was. It was an authentic reaction. My biggest take from that return is like when she comes in and immediately eliminates somebody, I was like, yep, she's back. This ain't just a one-time thing. I think she's back.
No, yeah, I agree. And then she had the whole stare down with Bayley, or she kind of smiled at Bayley and waved at her, and they went at it. They had to renew a rivalry, but it kind of refreshed it. Like,
it revamped
it.
Yeah, it's something new, something that needed to happen.
One moment I thought that was pretty cool was when Jordan Grace came down. She hits the Death Valley Driver on Piper Niven, and then her and Naomi kind of hug in the ring for a second. And then Bianca grabs her by the hair and yanks her off of her and tries to eliminate her, and Jordan Grace stays in. But it was kind of like a GLC moment from Bianca Belair, man. Did you get a heel vibe from that?
Maybe a little bit. Nothing too prominent. It could be hinting at something, or it could be completely nothing. Like it's one of those things where it's just like it's so niche that you can't really tell.
Yep. It was definitely one of those spots that needed to be done.
It really was. Because I know there for a minute it started to get a little stale. Because we were talking, throughout, obviously. And I think I remember mentioning, why the hell are we at entry number 10 and nobody's been eliminated yet?
I know. It was like they were trying to go back to that old school Rumble with so many people in the ring. Because they really haven't done that in a while. So maybe that's why they tried to switch it up a little bit. But I'm like you. I started getting bored with it for a minute until we started having some big names come out.
Yeah. And then, obviously, they're about halfway into the 20s. You had the big return. And that was Charlotte Flair.
Well, and yes, it was a big return, but that one was announced. Like we knew she was going to be in that one.
Well,
I think what made Alexa
that's what I'm saying. Like, it was the big return because, I mean, we all knew it was coming. It was just the big one that we were waiting for when she was going to come in. And, of course, she's going to, come in and immediately eliminate, what, 3 people?
yeah, exactly. I think what made not I think what made Alexa Bliss's return so special is the WWE had everybody convinced that she wasn't going to be there, that they could not come to agreement to terms on a contract.
Yeah.
Like they had everybody fooled.
Yeah, you
Everybody.
got to do that this time of year. The dirt sheets are going to
Nowadays,
be tricked just for that reason, just because it's that time of year. We're pretty much getting into wrestling Super Bowl season and playoff
yes,
season.
we are.
Like, this is basically the playoffs of the WWE.
So then we had a few other entrants come out, and then number 30. I was hoping for either one or two women to come out, and dadgummit, neither one of them came out.
You say that. I was hoping for one of 3 people, and the one that came out was one of the 3 people.
Really?
Yeah.
I was like, and I forgot about her because I remember hearing rumors last week that she was coming back, but I just forgot to mention the show. And we're talking about Nikki Bella, by the way. If y'all didn't watch the show, she made a return last night as number 30. Me, I was really, really, really hoping for AJ Lee.
I was too. Like, that was the other one that I really wanted. The other 2 I could have taken either or, and I wouldn't have been mad.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, when Nikki's music hit, I was like, okay, I can deal with this. But I was still upset that I wasn't AJ Lee.
The thing about her though is, I was reading a lot about that today, and a lot of people says that she just doesn't want to return. Now, would I love to see her come back? Of course, I'd love to see her and CM Punk have a group like we talked about the other day. But if that's it, if she's legitimately just not interested in coming back, fine.
I mean, it is what it is. The fans are always going to want to rant and rave and be like, "Oh, she's coming back. She's coming back. She's coming back. She's coming back." And if she doesn't, she doesn't. In my opinion, have a good life. Hope things are going well for you. I don't.
Yep.
I'm not mad at you if you don't come back. As much as I would love to see her come back, if she doesn't, I'm okay with it. I got to watch her wrestle in her time she was here to wrestle and everything, and that is what it is. What was your thoughts on how the women's rumble finished?
Expected. I mean, that was my pick to win it. It wasn't who I wanted to win it, but it was my pick to win it. There for a brief moment, WWE gave us a little tease that it might have been Roxanne Perez, and I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of hoping that it was.
Me too.
But it was expected for Charlotte. Now, I will say this: they're talking about Charlotte versus Tiffany Stratton at Mania. I wouldn't mind seeing a Charlotte versus Rhea rematch from the WrestleMania 39.
They're not going to do that.
I know they won't. Because Rhea's too over, and they're not going to let her drop the title to Charlotte.
For one, Rhea's too over, and they're not going to drop it to Charlotte. For 2, when that match happened and she did lose it, you could see the pure happiness in Charlotte's face that Rhea was the one that won it. So I don't see them. Yeah, and she pretty much hugged her. So I don't see her returning and then immediately going after Rhea. Maybe down the line something happens and you get another turn from her or something. But as of right now, they're going to be on the same side. And nothing's going to happen between her and Rhea. And she's definitely going to be going after Tiffany Stratton. And I hope she loses to Tiffany Stratton because I love Tiffany Stratton.
Well, and it's time that they let some of the younger talent keep their titles. I mean, they did it with Cody, right? But I think Tiffany needs to keep it at least till SummerSlam. Just give her a good lengthy reign and give her some good feuds because she's honestly feuded with Nia, or hasn't really feuded with anybody.
Right.
I mean, she cashed in on Nia and that was it. We haven't seen her feud.
Right.
And I would hate for her first feud that she loses her first feud. So
now let's get into the men's Royal Rumble.
Oh God.
man, was that an amazing match.
We talked about this being a star-studded Royal Rumble, and it lived up to the hype. That match was phenomenal. It deserved to be at the end of the PLE, and just the amount of things that happened in that match were insane.
Right. Yes, you are 110%
So
correct. We weren't sure how this match was going to kick off.
No, at all.
And the way that this match went, they had so many feud storylines throughout this.
Yep.
It made it beautiful. They started this night off this match off with Rey Mysterio at number 1 and Penta at number 2.
And that was crazy that they did that, because we were talking on one of our Raw review shows about how we would like to see Penta and Rey have a rivalry, and they hinted to it for 2 minutes, or however long it was until the number 33 person came in. They hinted towards it, and man, they didn't even give their best in that match. I don't think.
No, they didn't. Number 3 was Chad Gable.
Mm-hmm.
And there is also a storyline there with Chad Gable where he has a problem with the luchadors. And so they kind of incorporated that issue as well as, like you said, setting up for possible hint at a feud between Penta and Rey Mysterio. My opinion, they kind of let one slip.
Yeah, they covered it up. They covered it up because if y'all didn't watch, or you're unsure what we're talking about, Penta was thrown out of the ring. He held onto the ropes, but it looked like both feet had touched the floor. But they covered it up. They're like, oh, he was close. 1 foot touched, and both feet got to touch. I'm like, I think both feet did touch.
Now, normally when that happens, at some point during, you will get a review of what happened. We did not get that.
I think you get a review if it's part of the match, if it's supposed to happen.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at.
This was not supposed to happen at all. But they did a good job covering it
They
up.
did it. They did a great job. It's something that I noticed. As
I did too.
As a longtime fan, I know what to look for. So I noticed it.
Yep.
Penta actually lasted. He was actually the Iron Man of the men's match.
It was like 42 minutes or something.
He lasted the longest. So they did give him the push that he should have received.
The first he did great.
Because, it was the first 3 was obviously Penta, Rey Mysterio, Chad Gable. 4 was also another luchador, and that was
Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah. And
they had the high flyers in there early, which was smart because they've got the stamina to go long.
Right. And then, you have your normal entrants come in. Man, was I ready when number 15 came out.
We'll get to that in a second, man. I want to ask you something. So I can't remember who 5 was. I think Otis was like 7, and then a few numbers later, here comes Tozawa. But Tozawa gets punched in the back of the head
by Carmelo
Hayes.
Yeah, or Carmelo Hayes.
Because Carmelo Hayes gets eliminated, and he just punches him one time in the back of the head, and it knocks Tozawa out. So when Carmelo punches him in the back of the head, they show it backstage, and Triple H is looking at us like, oh, we need somebody in the Rumble. We need somebody in the Rumble. Speed, you're in. He's like, what? Me? And so I show Speed gets in the Rumble. He runs down.
Immediately eliminates somebody. He immediately eliminates somebody. I'm like, okay, this is going to be something.
Is it Chad Gable?
I think so.
Did he eliminate Chad Gable?
I think it was.
And then here comes Braun Breaker.
No, it was Otis.
Speared the.
He
Yeah, he did
eliminated.
throw Otis out.
Yeah, he threw Otis
Yes.
out.
Yeah. And then Braun Breaker spears the shit out of this dude. I went on Twitter after that, and there's a picture of ISO Speed in this neck brace. And he goes, "Next year, Roman, I'm coming for you." I was like, dude, if it be Braun Breaker his hard, I'd hate to see what Roman Reigns is going to do to you.
Man, that was like he broke him in half.
Yeah, I was talking about him to Haley, and I said that this guy played football for the University of Georgia. I said he runs the ropes at 23 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad they got the spot. And she's like, dang, he's fast. I was like, oh, yeah, it's big and fast and strong. 250 pounds,
He's
going at
also
23 miles an hour.
he's also a Steiner.
I know. I know. So then we had some other entries come in. And then at number 15.
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Who actually had a really good showing in this Rumble.
He did. He had a great showing, and I am so glad they gave him the amount of time that they did, and it wasn't just in and back out.
Yes. Yeah, they gave him they showed him some respect, and I even watched the post show last night, and Kathy Kelly interviewed him, and he was talking about John Cena, and he said John Cena told me 4 words, and I can't remember what the 4 words were, but he was very humble.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Very humble, and he seemed like he was legitimately grateful that John Cena took time out of his day to talk to him.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool.
Now, with the whole Joe Hendry thing, throughout the entire night, and it even kind of, as bad as I hate to say it, topped Alexa Bliss, but the pop that Joe Hendry got, dude, that place went wild.
And I want to say that he was probably the only surprise entrance from the men's side that we had.
For the most part.
That I can think of.
Like all the rest of them. You had AJ Styles, but I was
glad.
He was pretty much set in stone as to he was coming back. It was kind of said throughout the sheets and stuff, but.
Didn't get Big E. But I will tell you this, when they were doing the pre-show stuff, and then they even did a portion with Big E and them right before the Rumble match.
Mm-hmm.
They showed him in his suit. I'm like, you know what? He's about to go as soon as they quit filming. He's about to go in the locker room. His uniform or his gear is already under his suit. He's gonna rip it off and he's gonna run to the ring. We didn't get to see the New Day, so since the New Day wasn't there, it didn't make sense for Big E to be there.
Right, and
he may not be cleared. I guess that's just my fantasy to see Big E back in the ring.
That's all of ours, even though with the way they hinted it with the New Day reunion or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if Big E never comes back, same thing with the AJ Lee thing. If he doesn't come back, good luck to him. He's still doing big things.
Exactly.
Much respect.
Roman Reigns came into this match a lot earlier than I thought he would.
Yes.
I think he was number 17, 16, something like that.
Something like that. He wasn't too far behind Joe Hendry.
Yeah, he wasn't in the 20s, so which is kind of cool that they gave Roman that much time. Usually the bigger guys come in at 25, 26, something like that. But, then we had some other people come in. Drew McIntyre came in. And then we had the big ones, back to back to back, which I was like, holy crap, this is about to get real. I think John Cena was number 22.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk was 23. And when Punk got in the ring, he was staring at John Cena. I was like, oh my gosh. So then he gets in the ring, and they had this 3-way stare down for the whole 2 minutes of of his entrance. Nobody was fighting. Everybody was laying down. It was just them three, just kind of a little triangle stare.
With everybody resting, yeah.
Yes, and then Seth Rollins' music hits. So you get John Cena, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins back to back to back as entrance. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is about to get wild. And boy, did it ever get wild.
Oh, man, did it ever get wild. And obviously, Jay Uso, when he came in, he got a big pop too.
Yeah, he did. He did. I wish they would have let him do his entrance to the crowd, but I get why they didn't. Then Logan Paul was number 30. I was like, oh, we got a big guy number 30. And I was like, oh, wait, we still got Logan Paul.
Yeah.
He's going to be 30.
I didn't even, it didn't even register that he hadn't come in yet. And then I
Yeah,
was
me
like,
neither.
because I was
there
like,
just so much.
there was so much going on. I was just like, okay, cool, whatever. I'd already thought he was in. And then the next thing you know, 30, I was like, who's number 30? And I was like, wait a second. Damn it. It's going to be Logan Paul.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I forgot he wasn't in yet either. I was focused on Cena and Punk and Roman and Cody. Not Cody, Seth.
Mm-hmm.
And then Drew McIntyre kind of doing his thing. The big swerve of the whole night was Roman and Seth were going at it. They threw each other over the rope, but they were holding on. And then here comes my boy CM Punk, lifting him up, throwing him out of the ring. And I'm like, yes. Oh, it's his. Yes, he's about to win this thing. And then here comes Logan Paul's weaselly little butt. And he throws CM Punk over the top rope. And I was like, my mouth dropped to the floor. And my wife goes, are you mad? I'm like, yep.
One of the most shocking moments of the Rumble.
It was, because at that point, I knew Cena wasn't going to win just because of how they had built him up for the Elimination Chamber so much. At that particular point, I really thought Logan Paul was about to win the whole damn thing, and I was going to be furious. And my wife was asking me, she goes, because the Final Four was technically CM Punk, CM Punk, John Cena, Jey Uso, and Logan Paul. That was the Final Four.
Our first show, I had said, there's somebody that I want to win, that I think will win the Royal Rumble. I never said who it was until the prediction show. And my prediction, when I said that, I said week 1 I was thinking it was going to be John Cena. And then I switched it to who did I switch it to?
Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Seth Rollins. And then I switched it to CM Punk just because of the way the promos were going, that go home week of Raw and SmackDown. Pretty much, Jay and Cena teamed up on Logan, got him out. And then it was just them two in the ring. They did their thing. Man, that was the way John Cena worked that, the way Jay worked that was beautiful. The back and the forth, the going over the ropes, the coming back in, the going back over the ropes, both of them hanging on, going back and forth on the edge, super kick, almost knocks him off. Cena's just hanging by one arm, way out. I thought he was going to lose his grip and fall or something. Cena comes back, picks him up for the F5, and then something happens and Jay falls back into the ring, pushes Cena over. Jay wins. I'm not mad at it.
Am I mad about it? No. Am I disappointed? Yes.
That's just because you're a diehard CM Punk fan.
Right. I'm not disappointed because Jay won. I'm just disappointed that CM Punk didn't win. WWE in this past year has done a phenomenal job with keeping you on the edge of your seat. They have done a phenomenal job with building storylines, whether it be now or a future storyline. Hint, CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, CM Punk and Kevin Owens, Seth and Roman again, or Drew and Roman. I think they're trying to build for that because that's really the only person from the bloodline he hasn't fought yet since he's been on his little tirade about everything.
They also went through and basically set up the Elimination Chamber, in my opinion.
So we didn't talk about that yet. So Roman and Seth got eliminated by CM Punk. CM Punk gets eliminated by Logan Paul. And the look on Punk's face was straight up rage. Then you look over at Seth, and Seth was pissed. So he attacks Roman, gives him a freaking curb stomp on the steps. And then him and Punk start brawling outside the ring. They have to come out and break him up. They separate them. They fight again. And then one part, and I was like, "Ooh, you remember how we talked about CM Punk cutting Cody like a knife when he said I'll stab you in the front?" When they finally broke him up and he went to the back, he stopped and he stared a hole in Paul Heyman,
Oh yeah.
and then he walked off, and I was like, "Uh oh, we're about to see that favor."
Now that the Rumble is over and we have exactly 1 month before Elimination Chamber, my prediction is going to be that the 6 in the chamber is going to be obviously John Cena. He literally announced that during the press conference.
Which I want to talk about that here in a second.
And it's going to be, in my opinion, the other 5 are going to be Roman, Seth, CM Punk, let's see, Logan Paul, and then do they put Sammy in there?
But I would switch Logan Paul with Drew.
No, Drew would be in place of Sammy. I'm sorry, I meant to say Drew, not Sammy.
Because Drew's got this whole thing. He's got this whole vendetta towards Roman Reigns.
The reason I say Logan Paul though is because he's the one that he's eliminated Seth, Roman, and CM Punk. Because as CM Punk was pushing them off, that's when Logan came in and threw CM Punk over and pretty much took all 3 of them out at once.
My thing is, when people are going to say stuff, they can say stuff how they want to. Even if John Cena does win the chamber, I'm not sure he wins at WrestleMania.
I think he does.
I still think he breaks the record. I think he still hits his 17, but I'm not sure he does it at WrestleMania. I don't know why I think that. Nothing against John. I hope he does break it. But last night on the press conference, he came in and he sat down and they asked him a question. He goes, "You know what? I'm going to do it my way." He said, "I didn't win," and this isn't verbatim. It's just kind of ad-libbing what he said. He said, "I didn't win the Rumble tonight. It didn't go as planned, but I'm inserting myself in the Elimination Chamber to go to WrestleMania because I've earned it. I've deserved it." And he basically said that he's going to do what he wants to do and nobody's going to stop him. He showed a hint of a little bit of heel traits there. I would love to see WWE turn him heel for 3 months, 4 months. This is last year. Give us that heel we begged for, and then before he retires, go back to being a babyface.
Please give us the Thugonomics one more time.
So here's why I say he doesn't win the belt at Mania. Maybe he loses at Cody at Mania, and so he loses the Royal Rumble. He wins the Chamber, but goes to WrestleMania and loses the title, and he gets fed up. So he turns heel. He wins it at Money in the Bank, turns around, and he turns heel at Money in the Bank, goes all the way through like Bad Blood in October with the title, loses, turns babyface, and his send-off match could be something in Survivor Series. So maybe if he does retire at Survivor Series, it's a one-on-one match with, let's say, Randy Orton or CM Punk or somebody he's had a rivalry with, or maybe they bring Edge back for one match to retire John Cena.
Yeah.
What overall letter grade would you give the Rumble?
B+.
I'm gonna give it an F. Because you freaking screwed CM Punk.
I was about to say it's all because of CM Punk. No, give a true grade. Give a true grade.
A true grade? Honestly, the men's match gets an A+.
The men's match itself gets an A+, but I'm talking about overall whole entire night. That's why I say B+.
Yeah, I think B+ is fair. I think it could have been a little bit better. Not that the show was bad. The show was great, but I think that some of the booking decisions in the women's matches could have been a little bit better.
Now, I did hear that there was a replacement in said match to open up a spot for Alexa Bliss, and that was Shotzi.
Yeah, overall, man, it was a great show. I'm not upset. Like I said, I'm a little bit disappointed, but I'm only disappointed because CM Punk didn't win. I think Jey Uso It's good. I did see a lot of negativity on him. There's a lot of backlash, believe it or not, about him winning. People on Twitter saying that he's not ready, which I completely disagree with.
He's more
proven
than
that he's main
ready.
event caliber. Yeah, he's proven that. And I don't know if you know this. Roman Reigns tweeted last night after Jay won the Royal Rumble.
What do you
One
say?
word: eat. Those of y'all that watch the Royal Rumble, make sure you comment down below, like this video, and please do us a favor, subscribe to our channel because we're trying to get this thing started. And the more subscribers we have, the more this video gets put out to people. And we love talking pro wrestling. We've loved wrestling our whole life.
Yes.
So make sure you do that. Please do that. I'm going to put links to all of our social media pages in our description of the video as well as the bio. So make sure you follow us on X. Follow us on Spotify because our audio podcasts are on there now. Of course, TikTok and YouTube. Make sure you follow us on there. And Yorkie, I'm going to let you take it away, my friend.
Well, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. We look forward to seeing y'all at the next one, which will probably be tomorrow night. If not tomorrow night, it'll be Tuesday. Hope y'all tune into those as well, and hope you love what we're doing. And with that, I'm Yorkie, and that's TJ. Yeet!